Hi, and welcome back to Rain or Shine Gardening. I am Katie, and today I am here in my raised garden bed area of my yard. But I really wanted to record a video and share with you what I'm growing in my edible garden. So I shared my front yard garden tour in the last video, but I do grow a lot of food out here too. Things that we like to snack on in the garden and things that we like to use to can, like tomatoes and other fruits and things like that. So I'm going to walk you through and show you what I'm growing in my edible garden. Most of it is up here in my raised garden. I do have my berry beds here first, and then I have 3 other raised beds and another lower one, kind of longer lower one at the other end. So that's what today is. I'm going to show you what we're growing for vegetables. I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the varieties of what I'm growing as we go along in the video. All right, we're going to start here in the first bed, and I call this my berry bed. You'll see I have a berry trellis set up here. On both sides, I have some 2x4s that are just screwed into this 4x4. I have a pole that kind of keeps my uprights. So this is more structural than anything, but I have these wires that kind of try to contain the berries. And every so often as they're growing, I have to come along here and kind of train them inside. And this just keeps us being able to walk past it in our walking path. Okay. But here I have some blackberries, and probably 3 or 4 years ago, I planted triple crown blackberries here. And we had gone berry picking, and that's where I learned about them the first time, was when we went picking, because they're huge. They're absolutely like almost the size of a golf ball. So it doesn't take long to pick the berries, and they were really sweet and great tasting. So I planted those here. Well, last year we had a huge crop, and the year before. But the problem is the berries are huge, but the seeds are also huge. So we ended up with just eating them fresh, even having a mouthful of seeds, and it wasn't very pleasant. So you could strain them, you could make juice, you could make syrup, you could make a jelly, but they weren't great for jam or fresh eating. It was even uncomfortable with how big the seeds were. So I decided to try something new. And that's something I'm getting more used to as a gardener too, is if I don't like something, I can take it out and replace it, or it doesn't have to stay here. So what I did was I took out all of my triple crown blackberries this past winter, dug them all out. I had to pull all the roots out to make sure that I got them all. And I replaced them with black satin blackberries. So I am trying a new variety this year, and we're going to see how they work. I have 4 of them planted in here. It's pretty close. I don't know. It'll probably be pretty thick, but I'm excited to see what the black satin berries are like. I'm hoping that maybe they have a little bit smaller of a seed, but they're also really great berries for this area. They seem to be really healthy and doing really well, so I'm excited for that. If you do, let's see, I did spy some berries the other day. Come around on this side. I'll show you underneath here. We do have some berries that are forming up, and we actually might have one that's ready to pick. So we can try this one out. Yeah, the berries are smaller in size, but I'm really excited to have a better, more useful blackberry here in the garden. This year, I also decided to underplant my blackberries. I am constantly looking for a better place to plant pumpkins, because where I've tried and raised beds before, it's either been too shady. I had what I called my pumpkin patch, but it just had too much shade and the pumpkins didn't do well. So this year I have spooky pumpkins. I got my seeds from Epic Gardening, and I planted those underneath of my blackberries. So I'm really excited for these pumpkins. I'm hoping that they kind of spill over the walkway and kind of go over this wall down here and into the yard because I think that will look really good too. So the pumpkins seem to be doing really well in their location, and my berries are doing great too. Moving down, these are raspberries, and we're just about at the tail end here of their initial crop. There's still a few good berries here. I'll pick some off so you can see them. There's still some good berries coming ripe, so I'm excited to kind of finish picking off this, and you'll see that it's getting some new growth, and these will actually produce a fall berry. So we'll get 2 flushes of these. I didn't cut them back, which is why they produced in the spring, early summer. Okay, moving down, this is my first of my raised beds, and this year I kind of sprinkled a lot of different things in this bed. So before I was like, okay, this is my cabbage bed, this is my green bean bed, this is my pepper bed. But this year I kind of just have everything mixed in. Where there's an open space, I try to fill it with something and make my space the most useful. Now that these trees along the fence are getting bigger, it is giving more shade to these beds. So some of my things like peppers are taking a little while to kind of get jump started here, but they're doing okay. You'll see too my green beans here. I think we're going to be able to get a pretty good harvest on them this week, but they're doing really well. So there's still some additional flowers. We should be able to harvest off of these for a little while. I only have 4 plants in here, and I think everybody in our family likes green beans, so this will be a good crop for us to have. I do also have a couple cabbages in here, and you'll notice the heads are pretty big on these, which is great. They are getting some bug damage here, but what I like to do with the cabbages, we'll eat cabbage here and there, but we definitely won't eat as many as I have planted. But my chickens love the cabbage. It's one of their favorite things, lettuce and cabbage. So I kind of every other day, every few days, will pick one of these heads of cabbage and deliver it to my chickens, and they're super excited about that. One thing that I do have to be careful of is that my raspberries are coming up everywhere. So when I notice these, I try to get them by the roots, but try to keep them at bay because they are going underneath everywhere, just trying to come up and spread as much as they can. So I kind of have to keep control of those. Got another head of cabbage. I just harvested another head last night and gave it to the chickens. Here I have some purple cabbage planted, and then some different varieties of peppers. So this one here in front is a serrano. I did get these starts from a local garden center. I did not start pepper seeds soon enough. But this one in the middle is a California Wonder. It looks like a bell variety. And then in the back is another serrano. And these are just getting peppers to start to form. They flowered, and like I said, we haven't had a lot of hot days, so really need my peppers to kind of like kick it into gear pretty soon. But once they do, they have a lot of buds and flowers, so I think we're going to get a lot off of those. All right, this bed here, we have another purple cabbage. I really like this for the look of it too. The foliage is really pretty. But we've also got more peppers. So these are the bell variety, and they're called YOLO Wonder. So they are also getting a lot of buds and flowers. So hopefully those will produce now that we're getting some more sun. I also have some basil plants. Recently we hosted an event and we needed basil. And we went to the produce section, and it was all brown and old looking at the store. And I was like, oh, I have an idea. Let me go to the garden center at the store and just buy basil plants. So I bought a couple plants. I had a couple in here already, and we had enough basil, and it was so much better than buying the package out of the produce section. So there's a tip for you. If you need fresh basil, go to the garden center instead of the produce section. I did transplant a couple cucumbers, but we had some 90-degree days recently, and they look like they've fried. We'll see if they come back, but probably did that at the wrong time. I'll just replace them with something else if they don't survive. There's more pepper plants in this bed. I really like to do salsa or canned peppers. Sometimes I do like a mixed green pepper canned, and then I can pull those out for enchiladas or tacos or other things that we're making. These are some early jalapenos, and they have flowers and some fruit forming on them, so hopefully we'll get some of those soon. I do get a lot of bug pressure on my pepper plants, so I probably need to be more aware of that. And I have a couple other cucumbers I stuck back in here, so we'll see how those do. This is our next bed, and this is our favorite, absolute favorite. It's not even a tie between this and something else. This is our favorite thing to grow in the garden, and it's snap peas. They do so well here in our Pacific Northwest Zone 8B area. I got these planted pretty early, and so I probably should do some succession planting too, just because we love to snack on these all day long. So, um, having them for a week or two is great, but having them for longer is even better. So if I was to succession plan these, then we could just have more to snack on throughout the year. This year I did plant a purple variety in addition to just a green snap pea. So you'll see when they bloom, they actually bloom a purple flower. And then the pod, when it develops, is purple also. So that's kind of neat. It's different. I actually used up the end of a bunch of different seed packets I had for snap peas. Since we plant them every year, I usually have some extra. And I had a really good germination rate on them. So I have a little triangle trellis underneath. I keep it tied up because once the fruit does form on this, it gets really heavy. So it does need a lot of support. But it's just loaded with peas. So this will be great for us to enjoy for longer. I have a couple other peppers planted on the sides and a couple more cabbages in here too. All right, this is the last of the raised beds up here in this garden area. And this is an interesting bed. It needs some work, but this was my onion bed, and I cannot grow onions. I swear, I don't know. I try all kinds of different things, more water, less water. This does get hot, full sun. It's just got one small tree that's shading it right now, but it does get a lot of sun. I tried planting them earlier than I did last year, but I think I have 2 small onions that ended up developing out of all of them. So instead of having just an empty bed with struggling plants, I stuck through 3 black star zucchini in here. And that's probably 2 more than I need. And I did plant a bunch of other zucchini in other places. You get so much off of one zucchini plant. You don't really need more than that. But I grew them from seed, had a great germination rate, and it's just so hard to throw plants away once they grow. So I decided just to stick them in the ground, grow them, and then the chickens can have them if we can't go through eating enough of them. So these are 3 black star zucchinis mixed in with my failing onions. But if you have any onion suggestions for getting big bulbed onions, please let me know, because next year I need to do something different. And then this is my tomato patch, my tomato bed. In the back, I have 3 obelisks, trellises for my tomatoes, and you'll see how big they are. I definitely need to come in and do some pruning on them. I've got one that's trying to come out this way and go wild that either needs to be staked up or trimmed out. But the 3 in the back are a tomato or a cherry tomato variety. So those are kind of the pick and eat kind. We do have a yellow pear on the end and a pink unicorn in the middle. And then we have one of the sun sugar golden varieties too, which is one of everybody's favorites. So we have those growing in the back. And then, like I mentioned, I do like to can things from my garden. And I've done spaghetti sauce. I've done diced tomatoes. I've done, a lot of different salsas. And last year I did a tomato basil soup, which turned out really great. So in the front here, I have a row of San Marzanos. And that's a really good paste tomato to use for things like soups and sauces. And so these are just now starting to form up. We've got little tiny tomatoes forming, which is exciting to see. And I use the floor to weave method for staking these up. So you'll see on the end of my support board here, I've got string. So I wrap the string around a few times and then weave it back and forth in all of the tomatoes. So they're pretty sturdy along in here. It just helps give them a support. And it does look like they're tall enough now that I need to go in with another row of my string to help make sure that these stay supported. This is a garden bed next to my chicken coop. And I initially had lettuce actually growing in this long bed. And then once I took that out and harvested it and gave it to my chickens, I stuck a zucchini plant in here on the left-hand side. So that's a zucchini. And then I have a red cabbage here. And then I kind of left this open because I have a climbing rose climbing up over that archway. I have some really pretty sweet peas growing as well, but I do have some additional crops planted here in this bed next to my chicken coop. This is the other area that I have some of my edible crops planted, and I do have some strawberries here in my green stalk planter. And then on the left-hand side here, this is my working garden side of my yard, so it's a little bit chaotic, but these are all potatoes. You see how long those are? I think I have 8 bags. They're just in grow bags, but I have 8 bags of potatoes, and we planted Yukon Golds and we planted a blue variety. And the blue potatoes actually have these really pretty little purple flowers on them. Here's one of the last areas that we have set up right now with our produce and edible plant section of our garden, our non-flower area. And these are pickling cucumbers in the middle. And I planted, I think there's 4 plants in there. And then I have some more pumpkins on the outside. So those are going to climb all around this area. This is where my little pop-up greenhouse is. And these pumpkins are going to just kind of sprawl out and grow here. So this gets morning shade, but the rest of the day it's in full sun. So I'm excited to see how they do over here. Again, like I've struggled a little bit with pumpkins in years past with where I planted them. So this is a new location. I had to pull out my garlic so I could get these in. But they're obviously really doing well here and they're very happy. So hopefully we will get a good pumpkin harvest this year to use for pies. Right along the house here, we have 4 blueberry plants. We have 2 Chandler blueberries here, and then we have 2 pink lemonade blueberries down at the end. And they get lots of sun here, and they're doing so well. There's so many berries. They're not quite ripe yet. We have been pulling a few off and snacking on them. I can actually see some more blue ready to be picked down on this bunch here. But we love these blueberries. We do have a pear espalier back here, but it has not done super well this year. It didn't produce any fruit, but it looks a lot healthier than last year. It actually got pear rust last year and kind of struggled a little bit. So we'll let it just do its thing and recover this year. But it's fun to snack on the blueberries along this pathway that we have. All right, that's what I have growing for my vegetable garden as of the beginning of July. And hopefully I'll have more progress videos and updates as the month goes along and as the summer goes along. That's how things are growing right now. Excited to harvest more and see how some of these varieties do. I'm excited to hear from you to find out what you're growing in your garden too. So let me know if you have any suggestions on ways that I can make my garden better for future harvests, especially for my onions. Let me know if you have any tips. And yeah, rain or shine, I'll see you next time.